Ready to go?
That makes more sense then.
Rach, you ready? All right. I'd like to call to order the Phillipsburg City Council meeting for March 18th, 2019. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any public comment? Tracy, you're up. Rex, you can come up here and sit by Brett. He doesn't bite.
Not very hard anyway.
Well, just want to introduce myself. I'm Tracy Sampson. I'm the new program director for Senior Life Solutions. We've had an agreement for just under a year with the city to provide transportation for our Senior Life Solutions program. So I just want to thank you for that and working with us in partnership to provide the transportation for our program. I don't know if most of you know what the program consists of.
So I think everybody's...
So we've also reached out to the surrounding counties and they also have agreed that if our services are needed and we're providing, have clients in the surrounding counties, that they're totally in agreement with us going in and picking up clients. So I think the big change is just that 24-hour notice, setting up an appointment time and that kind of thing.
One of the changes we looked at in here with this contract was with our transportation program being primary, it's more about scheduling and coordination. And we've also put some language in here about the renewal process. So this renewal process will be reviewed and done annually, but the contract itself, if agreeable by both parties, doesn't have to be redone every year. So it kind of gives us a little more leeway there, and it also includes additional services out to Smith Center and Norton that we currently do not offer for their program, which is why the scheduling was such an issue we want to make sure we discussed. So.
I don't think, the fee's the same, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Any questions?
That's pretty much what we talked about the other day.
Correct.
That's what I read of it.
And it has been reviewed by Mr. Sage.
Do you have your name right? Michael, do you see your name? Okay. So we need a motion to have
I'll
the
make
mayor
a
sign.
motion that we have the mayor sign the agreement with the hospital.
Second?
No, sir.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
All right.
You've been great to work with, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's take a look at the March 4th minutes. And for approval.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for March 4th, 2019.
Second?
Second.
Lynette seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Let's take a look at appropriation ordinance number 1055-03-19A in your packet.
The only question I had, and Tiffany was kind of answering that a minute ago, was on the law enforcement with the handwritten check, which was replenishing. And I know what she said, but why aren't we doing that every month?
This is on the transfer? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna cover that a little bit. Okay, so we typically would transfer from general into the law enforcement fund, and we did not get that done this time, so the law enforcement fund was short. So we had to write a check out of general. Did you write it out of general, what?
Yeah.
For the law enforcement.
So as soon as we
Going forward, we'll make sure we have the funds transferred over first. It's something that was overlooked, and we made our auditor aware of it. We made the state aware of it, and we made KLM aware. We asked KLM what we needed to do, and I think we were going to talk about an open meeting, make sure everybody knew what had happened, so it's transparent. It's not that the money wasn't there, it's just we hadn't transferred to the appropriate fund to draw the check on. I mean, that's, all inter-fund transfers must be budgeted for, and that's what I'm going to talk about later on about Fund 34. We can't do that this year because it's not budget. It's not budget. You have to list those on your budget every year, those inter-fund transfers. And we haven't done that, so we can't do it. So this is Tiffany's training paying off. So, anyway.
Okay, next.
I'll make a motion, we approve appropriation ordinance 1055-03-19A.
You got a second?
Second.
Mike, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. James.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. McCall.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Miles.
I don't have
This
anything.
is rare. Mr. Rogers.
With these guys.
Okay. Lynette.
Not this time.
All right.
Damn.
And Michael.
Guess I just was curious if we had any update on the software or where we were at on that.
I have done 2 demos with 2 different companies on utility software and accounting software, and I have 2 more scheduled for this week. I really like the second one. The capabilities compared to what I have now is incredible. So it will save a lot of time and staff and be able to pull reports and information so much, be able to manipulate that and quicker.
And document management
Yeah,
as well, so you can scan and have documents available.
How about the integration with the AMIS, all that?
yes, all of the companies so far that I've talked to seem to say that they're compatible with auto read systems. So, but
And it was only, what, 50,000, 40, depending on what modules you got. It was fairly inexpensive.
And what I would like to do, this will be something we talk about probably more in the future, but this summer, if I have extra help to scan the documents and things, I'd like to get a document management program right away, like next month, pick one. And then go into the utility program once we decide on that. And then maybe later on, once we got the utility program up and going and smooth, then transition to add the other modules like the accounts payable and cash receipts and bank reconciliation and stuff. But
All that ought to interact with your general ledger though, so it seems like you'd have to do all that at once, wouldn't you?
Well, right now our utility program pretty much stands alone.
Yeah,
We
that's-
do
okay.
reports and then put it in manually to the other programs, so.
Oh, into the GL, it doesn't
We
make
make-
GL
No,
I
so
mean,
right
It
now.
should all
integrate.
work together.
It should.
And
Yeah, the
That's
program
why I
that
thought,
we.
how could you do it individually like that? But
Yeah.
So I'd like to get in the future, a clear budget that we can decide whether, on what level we want to look at things, whether it's more summary view or, or what we get sometimes today, so.
Yeah.
It's good, so.
So we're working on it.
She's got 2 more scheduled
Yeah, this week, yeah.
this week.
Is this the
She'll have
last
a
2,
re-
we're just gonna do 4?
She'll have a recommendation
Okay.
next meeting on what she wants to do with.
I've put a word out to a few other companies, but they haven't really scheduled one with me, so.
And Tyler Tech, who we're with now, has been totally non-responsive. I think she's contacted them 2 or 3 times and they won't even call her back. And that's who fund balance is with, and they have another one called,
Encode. They
In-
have lots of different programs.
Yeah. and that was the one we'd heard about down there at Salina. But
And I put requests out on the listserv for the city clerks asking what programs they use now and what they like. And I got a variety of programs, about 10 different ones. Every person was different. So it wasn't a huge, oh, this one's the best.
this one she liked though, Sabetha and
McPherson.
McPherson, both had it. So, anyway, sound promising. Okay, Scott?
Mayor and council, I do not have anything to report upon this evening.
Okay. So on the Industrial Development Fund, we talked about at last meeting, we talked about approving some transfers to it. We cannot do that because it's not budgeted. It's got to be listed on your scheduled transfer, a one-page thing. And since we didn't do that, it'll have to be budgeted for next year. And then I'm not even sure we can do it then. I got to do a little more research because since that's a mill levy item and not something where we can transfer in and out of, I'm not sure we can do it. I'm going to double check before that happens. So we may have to pass an ordinance that allows us to do that, but we can't do it right now. So at the earliest, it's going to be next year. And then only if we pass something that allows us to do it, I think. But we're checking into that. And then on the library board appointment, I need, Greg Seville is going to replace Ron Lauer, and I need a motion and this is for now, well, this will be now through 2023, 4-year term for Greg.
I so move.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Seville will be on the library board. Okay. Tim?
All right, I got a few things for you. Tiffany was kind enough to print a report for me for the utility costs for the library to show how much our energy savings have been since we've done the lights. So a grand total from, we'll say, May of last year to now, we have saved from this year to last year, $2,745, just in energy savings alone. You can see on average about a 50% reduction in cost from what last year to this year.
With LED lights?
With the LED lights.
Good.
So you can see a dramatically difference on what we were able to do there. So I thought I'd share that with you. That's good information.
What did it cost to put them in?
I probably should have looked at that before I said that. So
Well, I mean, you know,
There's our
where's our
labor.
payout, you know?
I should have probably grabbed that one, but I will follow that up in an email to you tomorrow on that.
You know,
I'm sorry.
That's a good savings, though.
Yes, it is a
It
nice
is good
savings. So,
savings, yeah.
I mean, you look at that on average, you're looking approximately $5,000 a year in energy savings just in one facility. So that shows you how quickly some of those adjustments can be made, and I mean, those lights will be paying themselves off in 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah. that's
Now, are
what it
those
is.
motion activated?
They are not at this time. So, but a very nice change. So, some things the guys have been up to. The famous snow removal, we're still getting a little bit of that. Hopefully we're finally done. Last Wednesday night, we got a water leak over on 10th and Park. We received it at 10 o'clock and had it fixed by 2 a.m. and then sent guys home, had them back in an hour and a half to start plowing snow. So
Is
they have
this
been
where
busy.
we're going to replace? Isn't that the area we're going to
Yes.
replace?
It's to the west of where we started replacing lines.
Okay.
It's 4-inch line, which is, I'll tell you, we fixed more 4-inch lines this year than we've ever fixed since I've been here, by far. It's usually always a 2-inch, but this one split just almost 3/4 of the way around.
But we're going to replace it anyway. No, it's west of
West, it's right across from Legion Field.
Okay, okay.
So it's, by the property owner would have been Ryan Madison's front yard, right there in the corner.
Okay.
So, I expect that number to get higher over the next few weeks. As things begin to thaw and things begin to move, you're gonna see more of those pipes break, so just be prepared for it. It's just the nature of the beast. For example, just to show you how much things are shifting, out on the south sidewalk of the aquatic center, they're up against the fence. That sidewalk has now raised approximately 3.5 inches. So it'll have to be replaced before we open the pool. So as soon as weather straightens up where we get in there without just tearing the heck out of all the grass and stuff, we'll go in there, pull that fence down and replace that walk. So, today we spent a majority of our time working on potholes. It was the first somewhat dry day we've had. Potholes are a mess right now. I know there's several of them around town. I encourage anybody that has or sees one to please report it through our website so that we can get it patched.
The ones right by the car wash.
We've got some of them today.
Those were bad.
That one was real bad. The one at Fisher and Morris Drive was really bad. Fifth Street had some of them you could lose a whole vehicle in. So there was several of them that we worked on trying to get taken care of today. They are temporary patches. We will probably have to continue working on them until summer time gets here where we get some better material. But we are working on them. The list is dramatically growing this week of alleys that need repaired. With the amount of traffic in our alleys right now, the base is going at them and everybody's sinking. I would encourage everybody, if you can, not use your alleys, you would be better off. And I know some of the residents have no other choice, but that's their only access in and out. But until it dries up, there's not a whole lot we can do to fix that problem. We can go through and put rock in there, but as soon as you drive over it, it's just going to squish down through the mud, and the mud's going to go right over the top, and you're going to lose it. So
Put some of that lime on there.
it's pretty wet for that right now.
Well, I mean,
you could, yes.
let's
That might be something we should look at.
make it solid.
We could look at that.
Hey, Tim, when are they gonna start the highway project, your best guess? That one lane right across, right in front of 104, the reservoir, or that is getting really
Yep.
bad?
It's supposed to bid, I think the last I heard was by April 15th. And then I would imagine they will start early this summer. I'd like to see it started before July 4th.
Well, hopefully we can make, you might wanna keep an eye on that one.
We're probably going to have to do some more patching
Okay.
before it's done and done. So, we're hopeful that the contractors are very eager to come to work so that we get them first, but we'll be at the mercy of their schedule once they start. The mayor has asked me to bring up the city code book. I think it would be in the city's best interest at this point to begin the review of that book and start making some adjustments to fit what we have now. We went through the zoning ordinances, and the first revision has been brought back to the planning commission, and we're going through it, making sure that it has all revisions that we wanted in there before we bring it to the council for approval. I would like, with your blessing, to begin on the city code book itself, to start making those revisions and send it in. There were some companies last year that bid to go through and do those. We will pull those bids up and review them and probably ask for those firms to reissue those numbers to see if they're still good. Is that acceptable?
When was the last time we did that, Tim?
7 years ago?
13,
It's been a while,
Yeah, it needs to be done.
Been
now.
6, 7 years ago.
so
Needs
it's
to
been a
be
while.
done.
I think it was right when I got here, if I remember correctly, they were just finishing up with it. So, is that okay with everybody? Okay.
Means you're talking planning. Did you find an answer on the issue of special use permits from Mr. Riggs?
What he come up with is it does require that somebody has to sign it.
Okay.
So that's been resolved. The current property owner put it in his name, and it has, it'll go out in this next week's paper. and the hearing will be on April 9th.
Okay, good,
So those are all resolved and moving forward.
good.
I received, I think it's in your packet, a letter from KDOT stating that our 2020 transportation grant has been approved. So with that, the federal operating budget was $38,335. The administration was $3,780. And the state's portion would be $15,334. So that met what we was asking for. So I was happy to receive the acceptance of our grant. Last week, we received a letter from KDHE. This would have been dated on the 11th. I want to make everybody aware of this letter. This letter states that we failed to provide lead results from a lead and copper monitoring to consumers. We have a requirement through our permit that we test lead and copper every year. And they did put us as non-compliant on their website. We was able to go back through our records and verify that we had submitted it. On March 14th, they sent us a letter back rescinding the violation, saying there was an error on their part. So I want to make sure if it comes up on there that we are, everybody's understanding that it has, we did not violate it. We were on time, everything was done properly. So I will be happy to provide to that if anybody's got questions on that. The last meeting I brought up the KDOT supplemental agreement. I did have Mr. Sage review that now, and I believe he is in acceptance with that agreement. This is an agreement to tie up some loose ends for the Phase 1 C-Clip project. I believe it is in your packet, and if it meets with your satisfaction, I'd like a motion and a second for the mayor to sign that.
What was cleaned up?
There was some language on the front end about the cost. Originally it was at 90%, now it's at 95% because of our population. It's clearing up some of those things that we had in the agreement. The new agreement that we have coming out that we're applying for, unfortunately with our population has shown we have declined in population. I believe it now is registered, we are at 2415, I believe was the last number that came out. It qualifies for 100% funding from KDOT versus the 95%. So once we drop below the 2,500 people, it made us eligible for 100% funding versus the 95%. So we will be submitting that application based on those figures.
For 100%?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign supplemental agreement number 1.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
In your packet, you'll also see an inspection report from the Department of Agriculture. This is a pop inspection by for the pound. We did have a couple of small issues to deal with. A doghouse had some openings. On the openings, the dog had chewed on. We've got to grind them down because they're too sharp for from the inspection. There's also a little bit of rust on the bottom of some of the fences we got to touch up and get painted. Down there at the bottom where it says we were non-compliant and the severity 1, this is for not having a contingency report. We do have that in place. It was in place in 2017. However, this inspector, when they showed up, did not follow protocol. They did not notify the people that was listed on the permit that had the information for them, so we could not provide that to them. But it has been rectified, and they are assured me that they will, from this point on, inspections will notify us properly. So, but that should be taken care of. Summer help update. Well, this last week we interviewed 42 kids for the lifeguarding position. And then we have made our selections and
How many hired?
27. So we will be sending those letters out starting tomorrow. We have also interviewed 3 individuals for the street department positions. 2 of them have been selected, and they will also be receiving letters beginning tomorrow. So we're in pretty good shape there. I was very pleased to see that we got through that process early. I see the city of Stockton Smith Center just started looking for their lifeguards, so we're a little ahead of the game. Planning Commission, April 9th, there will be 3 public hearings that night. There is a change of zoning hearing, a special use permit hearing, and a variance hearing. So it'll be a Planning Commission meeting as well as a Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. So we'll coordinate those right behind each other so that we can get through all 3 of those applications that evening. And it is listed on here that I would like an executive session. However, I am going to hold off on that for one more meeting. And that's all I have for you unless you have questions for me. Thank you.
Okay. Tiffany?
All I had was some training. There's a CDBG workshop coming up April 18th. I haven't been to any of those yet, and would like to, probably be a good idea to learn about the program. That's in Salina, and it's free. So if it's okay with the council, I'd like to go to that. And then also, there was another one.
Do we have consensus to send her?
Good idea.
Yeah.
And then there's another budget workshop to learn about the budget coming up in Hayes, I think April 10th. So, and that one I think costs $75. May 9th, $75. If it's okay if I go to that one.
Consensus?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then I just have an updated cash balance sheet on your last page. And it notes at the bottom that transfer for the law enforcement fund that occurred, and also the encumbrance for the new trash truck that we ordered. There wasn't enough specifically in the solid waste reserve, so I put part of that just out of the general.
And you ran those by Becky?
Mhm.
Yep. So there's the transfer we should have done last month, so. We'll be good. It's a quarterly process that we should have been doing on the law enforcement. We should have been, we'll do it from now on. So, any questions for Tiffany? Okay, that's all I have. You got your report on the CDs?
Where the interest rates going up? I didn't compare that.
261. 261? Yeah, 261 were the last ones. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.